Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
Hi, welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show podcast.
Hello and welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast here for Wednesday. Yeah. Did everybody hear? I was teasing you at the end of the regular show about the information that is coming out from the set of Rust. That is the Alec Baldwin movie where he shot and killed the cinematographer, Halyna Hutchins. Helena.
I think it's Helena.
Helena, H-A-L-Y-N-A, Helena. Hutchins.
It's definitely a weird way to spell Helena.
Okay.
If it's Helena.
Well, that is the cinematographer. She died in the shooting, and the director, Joel Souza, was injured in it. And they're trying to figure out, okay, because everybody's pointing at everyone else on this thing. And there's anywhere from Alec Baldwin, who fired the gun, to the armorer, to the assistant director, to they're just pointing all kinds of fingers. And so now they've got a search warrant, and the FBI is now, I guess, honing in on somebody else, another name to know with all this. Now, if you have not been following this ongoing saga, what had happened was the film's first assistant director handed a Colt .45 revolver to Alec Baldwin, and they said, "Cold gun," to let the crew know that a gun with no live rounds was being used. Then the assistant director told investigators he didn't know that there were any rounds in the gun that he gave to Alec Baldwin. Now, as the film's armorer, the person that's in charge of the guns and all that, Gutierrez Reed, that's the person that looks after this stuff, and her attorney, she's a girl, what, 23? Is that her age? She's young. She's in her early 20s.
She's not experienced at being an armorer, too, and that's one of the big beefs.
So she's saying she has no idea where the live rounds came from. Now, investigators may have found the source of the live bullet, and this is where the search warrant is leading them. Now, a longtime Hollywood armorer, Thel Reed, which is her dad, Hannah's dad, said in a statement that the ammunition once in his possession may match the ammunition found on the set of Rust. So they've gone to this Albuquerque prop house owned by Seth Kenny. This is the new name. They're searching that right now. And Kenny has told detectives that he was hired to supply Rust with guns as well as dummy rounds and blanks. And in his statement, he told investigators that he worked that Reed told investigators that he worked with Kenny on another production. And apparently at that production, Kenny had brought out an ammo can with 200 to 300 live rounds. After the production ended, Reed told investigators that Kenny took the ammo can and remaining ammo back to New Mexico and told Reed to write it off when the armorer tried to get it back. And through his attorney, Kenny's denied providing live ammunition to the set. But this is where it is. In fact, the new name, it looks like they're zeroing in on this guy who owned the prop house as maybe bringing the ammo and getting it into the mix. Now, how it got from that can into the gun
was
is
it
going to be the other
purposefully
question.
done?
That's a great question. So it sounds like at least they're finding out where the live ammo came from, how that happened, and where the exchange went. So again, you have another situation where this guy, Kenny, is pointing the finger like, not me, them. And the other person that he's pointing the finger at is like, not me, him. And then somebody else is like, nope, Alec Baldwin. So that's where they are with it right now. So they've added, actually all they've done is added a new name into the mix. So you've got everything from the head armorer to his daughter to the assistant director to now this prop guy and Alec Baldwin. You've got 5 people that you are possibly trying to blame for this incident.
And they are literally sweating bullets.
Yes, they are. So that's where we are. That is the latest on that. So I don't know. We'll see where it winds up going and where the blame happens. But yeah, it is funny. Don't we all do that? It's just always a scramble. That is today's society. We're like children. That's what little kids do, right? Remember that? When you would do something, you would immediately look to like how you can frame your friend for doing it.
Yep.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me pointing fingers.
Yeah, that's all adults do now. That's our society. Nobody takes any kind of blame for anything. It's always, it's not my fault. You could murder somebody. They're going, yeah, but that's not really my fault. They put me in a bad situation. I wasn't raised right. Somebody handed me a gun.
Well,
whatever it is, somehow it's not your fault.
Everyone's got an excuse. Nobody ever wants to take the.
Oh yeah.
That's the modern day way of doing things.
So this is what you got. You got 5 people, and they're all pointing the finger at the others. And probably by the time this is over, you're gonna have 10 people.
Yeah.
The spotlight just keeps growing. So we'll see. But that is what is going on with that story.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah, it's really confusing actually. But
I can't wait till they figure it all out and explain it to us, because now it's just like, all right, another person?
yeah,
Did anybody have ill will? That's what I want to know. That was the accusation on the set, that a lot of people walked off the set and quit
Yeah.
because they didn't like the way that the.
it was sloppy. It was not. It didn't sound like a very professional production. You weren't doing it according to the rules and the codes of conduct that you have for making a reputable film, and that's just it. And even if it was an accident, if you're sloppy in your work when you're dealing with live ammunition, somebody winds up dead, you're at fault.
And it just smells weird when you have a bunch of people walk off the set and quit. And then a couple of days later, somebody is shot on that same set with a live bullet that wasn't supposed to be there. You're like, "Rrr."
Yeah, it's interesting, but you know, there's obviously people that are gunning for Alec Baldwin because they don't like him and his policies.
And Alec Baldwin didn't try to shoot nobody. Come on.
Well, I'm not. He has Billy Baldwin. Kind of a little pissed off. Alec was the most popular one.
I just don't see it. I mean, politics aside, which I know no one can do, I don't think Alec Baldwin tried to shoot this girl.
It doesn't matter. He is hated so badly by so many people. Well, he was Trump for so long. If you were a Trump person and you know, got offended by his impersonation, they want him down no matter what.
Even if you are a Trump supporter, you don't honestly want him to go down for something that he didn't do, right?
No, they probably do. They probably don't care. I don't think they care.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
As Donald Trump Jr. put out on his website, guns don't kill people. Alec Baldwin kills people.
And that's also a dick thing to do. What a dick. I'm sorry. That's not cool.
Well, it's so funny to watch, though. I just feel like I'm trying to stay in the stands with it. I just watch all the insanity going around. This is another interesting little headline, too, that I saw today. You know, Morgan Wallen, he is going to be in Tortuga. Tickets go on sale on Friday for the concert. It's coming back in April. Because of COVID, we had the postponed one in November. Now this one's going to be happening in April. He is on the bill for that, even though he can't get into any award shows. But ain't this the way? You try to say that somebody's canceled. What does canceled really mean? You miss a few award shows? But
it means you're canceled from corporation. It's really what it means.
Yes, and it does not apparently slow down album sales, because they say Morgan Wallen's album Dangerous, the double album, is going to be the best-selling album of 2021 across all genres.
Yeah.
All genres?
All genres.
He beat Adele?
Well, she's just gotten going. So that's the whole thing. You know, she maybe could make up because she's selling like hotcakes right now, but by the time, you know, she's only got how many more weeks left to try to make it up. He's got a whole year.
I think what it is if you go back into a lot of people's past, celebrities that are still standing and that have not been brought down, I think people were supporting Morgan Wallen, saying, well, if you're going to call him out for this and he's going to be canceled, what about this celebrity? What about that celebrity? What about that person?
It's again the whole thing. Everybody's media, pointing fingers at everybody. This is what we do.
The media cherry picks on who you're supposed to villainize.
Yeah.
And then it gets on social media. But you don't see other people who've done shady shit or have said shady shit. And there are people, if you look in their past, who've said some really fucked up things that are going after Morgan Wallen. So that's why I think hypocrisy, I think all of that starts to get, I think it bothers people.
That's why we can't do that. And the good book that I read, He who is without sin, may he cast the first stone.
Well, as soon as you say they did this and you've done something, where does it fucking end?
Right, it doesn't.
I mean,
we just keep going around in a circle. It's like the set of Rust. You got 5 people going, he did it.
Yeah.
That's my point. This is where we are in our society. It is so asinine and ridiculous to watch.
Well, that's what happened when Bill Maher, remember, he got into some hot water.
Yeah.
He said the N-word during a conversation on his show.
Yeah.
Then Ice Cube came out the next week and gave it to him on the stage saying you shouldn't do that, and then people started giving Ice Cube stuff because he said stuff about gay people. So it's point. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. We're wrong. It's
That's fascinating.
round and round.
Round and round.
That is, that's what we do. So we don't really solve anything. We just are focused on who we can blame that's blaming me for something bad that they've done. And we all have. That's just humanity. As a human, you've done bad things.
Everybody's a hypocrite.
Absolutely.
I mean, even things we say on the air, you can be a hypocrite. To think that just happens.
That's why it
sometimes.
doesn't work. I was reading a very interesting article on the Ahmaud Arbery case that had happened. I didn't focus too much on it. It's hard news, and we don't really handle that stuff. But
We're more soft.
the strategy was fascinating in it. They talked about the prosecuting attorney and how she didn't really focus on race too much. You had 3 white guys being charged with the death of a black man. And she hasn't come out and talked about her strategy, but a lot of people have said there's something interesting here, and they're starting to study on it, where if you go more of the course of humanity and empathy, that is a lot more effective than trying to play the race card, because people get defensive and entrenched and want to fight back when we start talking about something being racist. But when people say, just imagine what this guy was, all color aside, this is just a person who was out and running and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not trying to reframe the whole case, but this is just, in a sense, what she was trying to lay out there. In fact, I think she only really referenced race maybe one time, and people are like, why are you not talking about this? This is clearly, 3 racists that just killed a black man. They even made a comment that was troubling after he was shot. And that is what they're strategizing, and it was effective. And they said maybe that is a lesson for us to learn, to all realize that we are all human beings. And if you're trying to talk about these things and get more, and the article is from the New York Times I was reading, they were talking about how Black Lives Matters and some of these other crusades that had happened weren't as effective as they wanted. And they were thinking the reason because they came hard at people, trying to make people feel guilty for things and pointing fingers at them saying, bad, 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 done all this racism. And like, you're a racist. Be like, wait, what? And people weren't receptive to that, instead of playing the card of empathy and saying, we just want to have equal rights. We want to be a part of the fabric of this society. This is what we want. And they just said that seemed to be effective, and that might be the approach. If you're going to be any of these groups taking anything on there, people actually are on your side. It's how you approach them as to how they're going to be receptive to it. If you put them on guard and make them feel like it's a charge at them and they should be shameful of their white privilege or whatever it might be, they're immediately defensive. But if you say, hey, can I talk to you about a struggle we've gone through and what we would like? We would like to be just like you, have the same rights, have the same kind of freedoms and safety, financial opportunities in society as you do. That people would be like, yeah, sure, that's it. That seems cool. Let's do that. It seems to be a more effective approach.
Yeah.
So maybe people can learn something. If that truly was the end, then maybe that's what it is. And it seems like if we had that kind of discourse, everything wouldn't be as toxic. The conversation wouldn't be so nasty and abrupt. We'd be like, hey, let's play on empathy and be like, hey, yeah, let's all, for one common good, work together to get the end result that we think everybody deserves.
The other thing, too, is you can only keep fighting and yelling at people for so long to where you get people like myself that go, I love everybody, and I'm going to the motherfucking woods. See ya.
Yeah.
I love everybody, but fuck everybody.
Well, it gets to a point where even if you just, you get, I'm talking about all social issues. Mm-hmm. If you say too much, you're talking too much. If you speak nothing, silence is violence.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers. Right. I just want to love everybody. I'll be in the woods.
That's what they're saying. That
Tiger Woods.
That approach is not effective. Where you come at somebody and say you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because people throw their hands up. Like, I don't even want to be involved with.
Well, then I go. You know what? I've got all these problems with my family that I got to take care of, and I'm gonna go deal with my family over here.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting yelled at or I'm not getting yelled at. It breeds confusion
and anger. Yeah. And if you want someone to be an advocate to help you achieve your ends, that's not the right approach.
Yeah, I don't know about y'all. I don't like getting yelled at.
No, nobody does.
Nobody does.
And that's what they're finding. So it'll be interesting to see what groups might learn that lesson. And maybe they can get a lot more done, and then maybe we can get rid of the toxicity in our conversations.
But I think that goes with all avenues with stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
not just about racism or sexism.
It's a psychological approach. Learn how to approach people to get your ends and your means. That's it. You need to learn how to talk to your kids to get what you want, your spouse to get what you want, your boss to get what you want, your coworkers. It's all in your approach. And you're like, okay, here's what I would like to have them do. How should I approach this and talk to them about it so that I can get ultimately what I want? The approach of making people feel on edge and guilty and shameful doesn't work. So, got some other emails here. Ann sent this in, mail at kvjshow.com. I talked today that I have not had a drink in the last month, which for me was a big deal because I was a daily drinker. I'd have a cocktail after the show, and on the weekends I'd have 2, maybe 3 in the course of a whole Saturday, but it was enough where I'm like, okay, I want to stay ahead of it. But there were some days where, I get caught up in it. I'd still stumble and fall and get a little bit more tipsy than I needed to be. And Ann had said, Kevin, your approach of just trying to do it in small bite-sized things, because my whole thing was like, you know what, I'm gonna see, can I, for the next month, not have a drink? And if I couldn't, I'd be like, I need a higher power to help me out because I can't do it on my own. And I did it, and she said, that's what I did with smoking. I am now 1 year today smoke-free, so great job, Kevin. I know what it feels like to accomplish a goal, and that was my recommendation to anybody who's trying to do anything. Take a small little break and see what you can do with it.
I've heard from so many people that have done hardcore drugs. I'm talking recreational that were really into them. From drinking, they said smoking or quitting cigarettes was the hardest.
Really?
Hardest
Yeah.
I've even heard it from our sweet Denny's. It just, for some people, it is, they can't. They really struggle with it.
Harder than hardcore drugs.
Yeah, for some
Damn.
people, that's how much the old nicotine gets you.
Ciggies.
I'm glad I didn't get into cigarettes, man.
Yeah, no, it's a tough thing to kick.
Well, I just feel like I can see how it could happen. You're drinking at a bar and you're getting a nice buzz, and you never smoke cigarettes. Someone gives you a ciggy. Oh, because I remember getting the first cigarette I ever had. It knocked me on my dick because I was made me buzz.
Yeah, no,
I can see how you can fall into that trap and it being, give me my ciggy.
Well, I think we're starting to realize there are so many things that have been introduced as products to hook us. You've got cigarettes, you've got sugar, you've got social media. All of those things have been built to create and to hit the pleasure centers in the brain to keep you coming back. And once you identify that something is made to put shackles on you, you need to be wary of that. Alcohol can be the same way, gambling, all those little vices. They are all built and constructed purposefully to get you hooked and get you coming back.
I thought of Virginia last night when I woke up from my sleep. I took one of those weird, odd fucking naps. And as soon as I woke up, it was about 9:45 at night. I was just yearning for some sweets. I needed them.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
That's
You
that
dreaming
sugar,
about
baby.
me again?
I did not do it. I did not do it. I fought. I did what you said. Put some water in my mouth, and that was awful.
Yeah. It's tough to do because those things are definitely fun. But yeah, I think that's one thing I'm aware of right now. What are those products that are trying to hook me? And I need to watch myself around. I'm trying to wean myself from all of those things.
I noticed they try to really get everybody right at the end when you're trying to get out of the store. You could be going there for all your health shit. Sack of potatoes, watered chips, whatever you're into that's healthy. And then you get in that line and you trip over a fucking Nutrageous because it's right there. And they make it so easy to go, oh yeah, fuck it, I'll get a Snickers.
You love Nutrageous.
Oh, you know I do.
Got Carrie here with a comment about the makeup or breakup that we had today. It was about smoking, where he was in a relationship, and she had actually sent the email, and she has a stressful job. She smokes because of it, and he's like, look, choose the ciggies or me. Gave her the ultimatum. She didn't like the ultimatum. Does she stay with him or not? And Carrie said, I agree with Jaber and his point he had. He knew she smoked when he got into the relationship, and if he didn't like it, he should have not started dating her.
Agreed. Everyone always tries to date someone and fucking changes them. No.
That's a thought. I mean, you assume that. I mean, I'm assuming she didn't start smoking after the relationship began.
That's a different case. It's a different animal.
And even though he's changing her for the better, you say no.
You say changing for the better, but I don't know. Yeah, healthy-wise, he's doing it. But you got to do it for yourself. And he's not changing for the better for the relationship.
Smoking is gross.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of people who have multiple vices telling people they're doing stuff wrong. Like, who the fuck am I to ever tell somebody, stop doing that? No, yeah, I can agree with you that it's bad for you.
Yeah.
And it's bringing you down. But who the fuck am I? I smoke weed. I drink.
Yeah. I've tripped through most vices out there.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of talking out of both sides of my mouth and being hypocritical.
Well, at least you own it, though. I wish more people, especially on a microphone, they should start the broadcast. Good morning, everybody. I'm a hypocrite, and here are my opinions. That's why everybody with a microphone should start it off that way.
Should we put that in the opening KVJ song?
I believe. I don't know if y'all share my philosophy, but as soon as you talk to the public and you have a microphone, you need to be questioned. You need that. You have an agenda of some sort.
We'd also had on makeup or breakup. There was a girl who was talking to her boyfriend about getting married, and she said, hey, before you propose, you need to go talk to my dad, get his permission. He's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, that's just old, antiquated. It's demeaning to me. It's going to be awkward. Not doing it. And so she's like, okay, well, he's not going to take it well. And so she was just kind of rattled by it. And Aaron said, look, if the guy isn't a douche otherwise, I agree that it is an old-fashioned expectation to ask a father for permission to marry their daughter as if she is their property. However, he could still have a conversation with her father, and I'd include the mother too, to express his love and appreciation for their daughter and to lay out that he intends to ask her to marry him and spend the rest of his life with her. He can then say that he wants to start a conversation between them, he and his in-laws, that if there are major differences of opinion, that they can discuss it. Perhaps nothing will change, but at least they can discuss it. This removes the asking part.
You're dying on a hill that I just don't think it's worth it because you want to be right because your ego is going, I don't want to ask the dad. I get it. Yeah, it is outdated. I understand all that, but you get further with a lot of honey, y'all.
Yes, and when you marry a girl, you also marry her dad. Don't you want to make the dad happy?
You're going to change this old school fuck's perspective when he's in his, 70s?
Do you not like the approach of sitting the mother and father down at the same time?
I don't know, man. Again, I just think there's some things in life that are worth fighting for, and maybe for this cat, it is worth fighting for. I don't think you're going to win this fight.
He's annoying.
I think all you're going to. He reminds me of the kind of guy that goes to Walmart, and if they ask him to show his receipt, he's going to go, well, you didn't see the receipt.
He fights with that person.
He's looking for. I get it technically. Yeah, from your perspective, you're right. Mm-hmm. But what's that going to really win you?
Okay.
Sometimes you can be right, but what do you really win, Virginia?
Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Sometimes you should try to be right, and then sometimes you should try to be happy.
This is a case scenario where everybody's telling you you're being a douche.
Well, what are you going to do? You're going to change the whole world's perspective about marriage? You got a long time to wait for this to be outdated, my man. Mm-hmm. It's going to take a long time.
Right. A whole couple of generations are going to have to die off.
There's a lot of people who do like the idea of respect and going up to a woman's father and saying, I love her. I would like to take her and,
do bad things to her butt.
Real bad things to her. Did you say butt?
Yes.
Whoa.
Well, on the front, too.
Basically,
say it just like
hole
that.
she has in her.
But for some people, though, that's a sweet thing, and it's not about this fight. You know what I mean? It's not about the genders and all this. They're just trying to be respectful.
Right.
What the fuck do I know? I'm
That-
not married. I have no kids.
That's what it's about. Respecting her father and respecting her relationship with him. She's asking you to do this. Don't be a dick.
I want to take your daughter and
Do bad things to her butt.
stick it in there.
Aaron, I do like your suggestion. I think that's a cool little way to do it. Mom and dad, bring them both together.
I'm not yelling at you, Aaron. I'm yelling at the original scenario.
Got an email here from Tina. She's got a son, 5 months old. She said, my son is my rainbow baby, what most people call babies born after losing one.
Okay.
Anyways, my ex and I were trying, but I gave up after losing my third one. I got pregnant out of nowhere. My baby's father was incredible the first few weeks. Then he gave up. He up and left, keeps blaming me for leaving, but I know he left because he doesn't have his freedoms like before. So I've been paying for everything on my own. I'm really behind on my bills. Gave up my car, but he never came back to help me, so I took the license plate away. He doesn't have the car anymore. I get 25% of his help. He's not on child support, but he always told me that he's broke. Broke? How? It gets childish, to be honest. He doesn't see his other family members because I would have to drive out there 40 minutes, and I gave up being the nice one. I try to make my son know his father, but his father seems like he doesn't care. So anyway, she's going on here talking about working 2 jobs, all the son's needs, and I don't know if I should allow the baby's father to be with my son for Christmas and baptize him next month without my son's other family members and his father. I asked him about it, and it's a whatever look. I need help. Everything is new to me, so I feel lost and confused. I don't want my son to look at pictures in the future and ask me why his father isn't in the picture, or do I just let go and move on as if the father doesn't exist? I think she's trying to balance this all out. The dad doesn't help out much. He's not around. He's a pain in the ass. Typical stuff that you hear, and she's just trying to figure out how much to cut him out of the life. What does she allow him to do?
You have to look at it from the perspective of the child. And if you try to cut the dad out completely, you're basically telling the child half of them is not worthy. And as much as it sucks, you kind of have to suck it up. And even though he's not helping and contributing, you do have to allow that relationship to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna suck. You're gonna be so pissy, but just know that as that child gets older and then sees both parents for what they are, the child figures it out.
Okay. Jen is saying she needs to take him to court. He needs to pay the child support, get it all established, let them dictate visitation and all those kind of things. You get your money, they sort out the visitation, and to Virginia's point, yeah, you let the kid eventually sort out what their own personal feelings are going to be about their father.
The thing about that is, though, it's expensive to retain a lawyer. They all want you to pay up front a retainer, and it's a couple $1,000s minimum.
That's why I always tell all my colleagues, always defend yourself in court. Save a lot of money.
I don't know if you can do that, but if there's a way to defend yourself in a child support case, I would encourage anybody to try to go that route. Because I think alimony and all that, I think you need a lawyer for, but there is a clear mathematical equation that they use based on salary to come up with child support.
Okay. Now, do you have to take somebody to court or at least somehow establish it in the legal chains?
You do.
Okay.
To get your money legally, it does have to go through the system.
And that's not cheap, though.
Maybe there are ways to do it more affordably.
Okay.
I can't answer that one. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I know I ended up doing a lawyer, but it really was very expensive.
Okay. Well, this is some crazy stuff. We were just talking this week about the scales at Publix. Jaybird had found one that he felt was right on.
It really is. It was the same weight of mine at the doctor's, too.
Yeah, and Stephanie had sent us this email. Says the skinny, iconic Publix supermarket scales could be a thing of the past.
What?
Oh, no. Is this something about people's feelings?
They're no longer made by their manufacturer. Stores will phase them out as they break down. So once the scale breaks, and if you don't know what it is, there's a photo of a guy on the scale. It's kind of an old school looking thing, not made anymore. So if it goes bunk, it doesn't work, it won't be replaced or fixed. It will apparently be tossed.
Well, just get a new manufacturer, right? I'm sure they still make scales that you could bring into stores.
Well, I think
Don't give up on the scale, please.
I think it's that tight. You see that all the time. When somebody discontinues a product and nobody makes the parts, then, yeah, it goes by the wayside.
They got to be able to have some type of scale there. I go to Publix to get weighed. I did my blood pressure the other day. That's kind of fun.
Oh, Higgy.com?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they made me fill all this shit, though. You had to go in there, put your arm in the thing, and they want all this information. Then it got real unfun.
Yeah, you have to push all your info in.
Well, then the button didn't work, so all you heard was beep, 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 beep. Oh, fuck. Beep, beep, beep. Shit. Fuck this thing.
Fuck this thing.
My blood pressure was high.
There's a guy losing his cool at the Higgy.com.
His blood pressure's 400/90.
Oh, shit. He just tossed the machine.
Yeah, somebody just texted in and said our Publix in St. Lucie West just did away with their scale, and they did not replace it with anything.
The one thing, because I thought you were going to say it was about feelings and no one wants to be so publicly weighed. I'll say this about the Publix scale. You can see someone's weight from a good distance away. If I'm getting on that scale, I can't see who the fuck's behind me. Looking over there, there's like 3 people looking. Oh, yeah. Fat fuck.
That fat fuck.
Yeah, you can absolutely not hide from the...
You better get up from that machine and go right to the salad.
We're going to redo these scales. No privacy, maybe.
We were talking about experience gifts the other day, as I saw that there was a lot of great deals going on yesterday for travel and hotels and things like that. We talked about a bunch of different experience gifts you could do. That would be on the Tuesday regular show if you want to go back and hear the list that we had. And we got an email from Chelsea who said, yeah, I got an experience gift from my fiance last year. He absolutely loved it. It's called Tingly, Tinggly. You buy a package based on the occasion, Christmas, birthday, wedding, and it gives you different options for the recipient to pick. And they have places all over the world you can do. Like if you're in Miami, you can pick one of the 10 options, like a food tour or parasailing. If you're flying to Portugal, you can do a party boat cruise. Things like that is what you're going to see. They have options that go up to 800-plus experiences in 100-plus countries.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty kind of cool.
Someone did something cool for me, too. They sent me a drink. It was kind of like I got an email, and maybe it's the same thing. They send you a drink. Maybe it was called Fizzy or something, and they go, you've got a gift. Congratulations. Someone sent me for finishing Grimsley. And I hit the button, and it sent me, they go, make your appointment right now, and you sent the little appointment, and then I had whiskey at my place at 6 p.m. Someone sent it to me.
Wow.
And it's a cool little gift. You have to do none of the legwork.
What was the ones? I know there's one that a local guy had made, and is there Drinkly too, something like that? I can't remember what his was.
We had AirTab.
Maybe
Yeah,
was it Whiskily? Or,
I don't know.
or Drinkly? Or,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Fizzle
I thought
is-
I'd heard of that. But
I don't know. It was fucking cool.
anyway, Chelsea knows about the international part because she has moved everywhere. She's 28 now, started listening to KVJ in elementary school in Stewart. Then she went to California, Ireland, and now she's in Sweden. And she says, I don't go a day without listening. And my fiance loves you all too.
Aww.
That's very nice.
That is very cool. She said, you got me through the loneliness and the hardest of times. Very nice. Thank you for that, Chelsea. Also heard from Heather from Parkland. She said, I just played Battle of the Generations with you guys today for Gen Z. Never called or emailed. I felt compelled, though, to share my story. I was born and raised in South Florida my whole life. I'm 25 years old, and literally some of my youngest childhood memories are of listening to your show. I remember as a preteen having a crush on Jaybird and wanting to be like Virginia when I grew up, and I still do. I'm emailing you because on Thanksgiving Day, my husband and I and our 2 young children moved from Parkland to Brockport, New York, a small town 20 minutes outside of Rochester. I never lived outside of South Florida, so as you can imagine, it's been a huge adjustment. We got no family or friends in New York, and I was worried about the weather too, but I put on your show on Monday morning, and it felt like I was home again. Your show is helping make this transition easier and has always helped me when I face challenges in my life. So you always help people in indescribable ways, so I want to say thanks. It's very nice.
I love it. Yeah, our New York numbers are to the roof. We got 12 people up there listening.
Wow. It's powerful. Yeah, put me on the KVJ Nation map. And if you are listening outside of South Florida, where our broadcast signal is, let us know. We do have a map where you can kind of go and see. And I know people have checked out some of the people in their own cities. I remember when I went to Chicago, it was great. We got together a whole group of KVJ Nationers at a bar and had some cocktails together.
If someone came in here and said, all right, Kevin, if you guess this answer correctly, you get $1 million right in your account tax-free.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we have a listener in every single state?
Yes.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Even Hawaii.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too.
I do, too.
Yeah. It's great how it's spreading out there. So I love it. Keep it going. You know, they talk about, hey, I'm going to get people here in Rochester and the little town I'm in trying to listen as well. So, yeah, help us grow that thing. It'd be nice. So we do love South Florida, and we'll always stay in South Florida, but it'd be nice to be able to grow everywhere else as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be able to do more things with the show. So thank you guys, wherever you might be, for listening. Do appreciate it. And thanks for those emails. mail@kvjshow.com. Virginia, I know you got to mention our vodka sponsor.
I do. Thank you so much to Atoll Vodka. These guys are local. These guys give back a portion of proceeds to autism charities right here locally. So when you're drinking this delicious, refreshing citrus vodka, you're also giving back to autism charities.
That's great.
Atoll Vodka at mashandgrape.com.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.